program is brought to you by Newsworks in cooperation with the Eau Claire Area School Board. This program is simulcast on WRFP-LP 101.9 FM.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the budget hearing and special meeting relative to the budget. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Patty, are we in compliance with open meetings?
Yes, we are.
Thank you so much. Roll call for verification of quorum, please.
Commissioner Duax,
Here.
Commissioner Hambuck-Boyle,
Here.
Commissioner Harder,
Here.
Commissioner Luganville,
Here.
Commissioner Vu,
Here.
Commissioner Torres, absent, Commissioner Bika, absent.
Thanks, Patty. So we will, this meeting will run thusly. We'll do an update on the 2017-18 budget. After that, there will be a public hearing as far as people in the audience if you wish to speak. And then we'll adjourn to the special meeting and vote on the adoption of the budget. So, Abby, thank you.
You are welcome. All right, so quick refresher about the budget and the revenue limits. And so the state statute limits the amount of revenue that the school district can acquire via the local property tax and as well as equalized aid. On average, statewide, the state funds about 66% of school district budgets, while local property taxes fund about 34%. Factors that impact the revenue limit are our student enrollment, our per student spending in the prior years, and additional funding that would come from the state. Equalized aid is the primary way that the state supports the school, and the state aid formula ranks the wealth of a school district community based upon their property wealth per student. So if you're in a wealthier school district, then you're going to receive less state aid, and if you're in a less wealthy school district, you're going to receive more aid. Again, factors that impact that equalized aid are your student enrollment and the local equalized value, which is the property value of the property that falls within your taxing district. So revenue limit, I love this slide because I think it helps people understand that as property taxes go up, the equalized aid will go down. And then the reverse happens. If property taxes go down, then the equalized goes out. It's like that balance. Those two work together. In Eau Claire, we are always funded very close to 50% in our district. And so just a refresher that in 2017, our property tax was 50.98% of our revenue limit, and our equalized aid was 49.02. And in our 2018 budget, the property tax is 51.97%, and the state aid, equalized aid or state aid is 48.03. Again, we tend to be right around that 50-50 range. Our adopted revenues by fund, and so the board adopted on Monday night the actual revenue budgets. And so we focus a lot on our operating budget, and we've been talking a lot about that. So the total revenues for our operating budget is $135,411,148. And then the revenues for the other funds we want to share. So you can see overall our revenue budget is $156,111,405. It's a really big number, and I don't talk with that big numbers very often. So that's, again, for all of the district revenues, that's what our number is.
Commissioner Harder?
Sorry.
No, do you have last year's number? That I just assume we're up a little bit, trending a little high, right, with that?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. We'd have to go back to
Often we're looking at the operating budget and comparing that year to year, but I don't know that I've seen total revenues from year to year. I assume it's up a little bit.
I think it is up. It would be up a little bit. I think. I know that we talked about debt service being a little bit different, but some of that's shifting from the operating fund. Food service, I think, is pretty flat. I think the employee benefit trust fund revenue is up a couple of $100,000. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a significant change, but I could certainly provide that information to you. Mm-hmm. This is just a pie chart to be able to look at by fund I know sometimes numbers don't mean anything to people, and so I like to show pictures too to help. And so obviously the blue is going to be our Fund 10, which is 81.26% of our revenue budget when we look at that. And so all of the other funds are off to the side. But again, when we're talking about operations, we're looking at Fund 10 and Fund 27 and 29. So if you add Fund 10, 27, and 29, that's about 87% of our revenue budget, which makes a lot of sense because that's our operating. Here's our tax levy. That is what we need you to adopt tonight so we can certify to the municipalities. You can see overall that our tax levy for this year is actually up about $479,000. It is different between the different funds, and again, that comes back to our referendum. We talked in the referendum that we would set aside $2.2 million to pay that debt, and you can see that the Fund 38 debt service tax levy will be up by just over $2.2 million. No surprises, that's what we were expecting. So overall, for our taxpayers that we tax, in the Eau Claire School District, it's actually a good thing because taxes are going down by $41 per $1,000 of equalized value. So what that means to our taxpayer is if they own a $100,000 house, their taxes from the school district will go down by $41. And if it's $150,000, it's going to go down around $60. So very important to be able to talk about that. Thank you, Dr. Hardebeck. Our total revenues, actually this one, I don't know if it has all the funds in it. Hold on just a second. I think this is just all the operating funds. Let me just take one more quick look here. Do you have it pulled up on there from board docs from last year? What was that total revenue number? Oh, here, hold on just a second. I'll tell you what it is.
While we're waiting for this, I want the board to know that there is a reformwisconsin.org, which just posted. I think I might have sent you an email and then I checked and I don't know if I attached the link or not, but they just posted all the new numbers for all the districts across the state by Senate district on the voucher impact for 17-18. So, and it's all in pictures and graphs as well. I sent an email, but then I looked, I don't know if I attached the thing or not, but you can get into that reformwisconsin.org and really dig deep, and you can compare to other districts. They even have the graphs that say per pupil without the state aid, which then we're very low when compared to the rest of the districts in the Senate district. So I just want you to know that that's there.
So Patty was so kind and pulled up last year's budget presentation, but we had two because we had a referendum dependent and a non-referendum. And so the one that we showed was the non-referendum. We kind of kept the referendum separate, and our revenue was $146 million. And so if you add the referendum on top of that, we were probably about $152 million when we were said and done after that passed with our adopted budget. So it is up about $4 million probably our revenue. And I can't really, without going side by side, to tell what the major differences are, but I could provide that in a Friday letter if the board would like me to. So our tax levy, we were talking about that, and again, good news if you're a taxpayer within our taxing district, because your taxes will go down this year. And I think that was a really exciting thing too, because I know we were very concerned about the referendum and going to that 95 cents to get that $5.8 million. And so this is really good that it's going down again, because then our taxpayers aren't feeling that full effect of that 95 cents. So again, I like to show you pictures, and so last year our tax rate was $9.77. It's in the blue on the right, and this year our levy will be $9.36. So again, 41 cents of a difference between the two. And then when we talk about expenses, we kind of did the same thing. We highlighted in blue the operating expenses, which we've been talking about a lot. So you can see our operating budget total is $137,844,489. And then when we look at overall, our total expenses are $158 million. And so, you know, again, the breakdown, and you can see, I'm sure there's some differences between the funds from last year to this year, but that's where we've really been focusing on the operating because that's what we can use for day to day. And I wanted, again, to show you a graph of how does that shake out as far as the expenses. And again, if we look at the operating expenses, you're going to be in that 87 to 88% of our total expenditure budget is going to come through your operation, which makes a lot of sense because that's how we do what we do every day. And then this should look familiar. We talked about this Monday night. Our revenue budget is actually down in total, $9,534, which is 0.007%. Not a big number, but again, when your expenses are going up, that's not a good thing that your revenues are staying flat. And so again, if we look at our expense budget, our increase is 1.33%. And so we've talked about that a lot. When the initial budgets came in, we were in that 3% range, which is very reasonable considering the large dollar amount of our budget. And so, but we were trimming that back, and just a refresher that we cut out all of the equipment, we cut out all of the iPad refresh, all of the computers, and so tried to keep the cuts as far away from students, again, because we put that emphasis on our high quality staff to pay for our new salary schedule and being able to pay for that level movement. And so in this year's budget, we do see an increase in our salary and bennies, and then decreases in other areas to come up with that net effect of a $1.8 million increase. And then just comparison for our operating expenses from last year to this year, and how does the budget break down for operations. So you can see last year our operating budget for salary and benefits was 72.81%, and this year it's 77.56%, again showing that we're supporting that high quality staff and we are putting more money into salary and fringes across the district. So I will open it up for any question from the board members.
Are there any questions from the board? Seeing none, we're going to open it up for the public hearing. Members of the public have up to 5 minutes to speak and comment. We cannot comment back, but we are very thankful for those that come and connect with the board. So Tiffany and Janae, thanks for coming. Please introduce yourself and with your name and your address, please.
My name is Tiffany Layton Giffey from 328 West Hamilton Avenue, and I'm a 6th-year speech therapist at Longfellow Elementary, and coming with concerns because of the compensation schedule. And I know you've all heard from us. Thank you again for listening today and all that. But we have these ongoing concerns, and this year we've continued to contact HR and the board with concerns about what we can do to fix this issue. And several of you have responded with this, that this issue was important, and we really appreciate it. But we have heard that it was dependent on the budget. We feel like, I'm totally going rogue because my notes were a lot longer than I know I have time for. But we've been watching the budget issue, and in the Leader Telegram on Tuesday, we were really excited to see that there were $5 million being used to support maintaining high quality teachers. And we were hoping that in some way that might be helping to support retaining high quality teachers, because over and over again, we're hearing about happy new hires to our district, enjoying increases in salaries from what they had in previous districts when they came. And our colleagues are even saying that, you know, they didn't expect to have this. I mean, many of us as educators, we know that when we switch districts, we're likely going to take a hit. And that's okay because we want to work in the district. And yet these people are getting really nice raises. So this year again, I'm a level B now, hooray, making progress, so thank you for the compensation schedule. However, I'm mentoring a level D. And we're hearing about hires being, you know, hired at a level F. And so when we heard that $5 million was being used to retain, we thought maybe that was to retain people like us. Unfortunately, we learned that that wasn't even discussed in the budget meeting, which is really disheartening when it's something that is at the top of our minds and something we think about daily. And the main reason we think about it, yes, from a financial standpoint, because we have college debt and we're still at a level A or a level B, and it's not like we're beginning level teachers. I mean, we have masters. And yet the bigger issue is that we don't feel valued. You know, we think about taking on new projects. I have a lot of research I want to do. I want to put extra time into things, but I have to think, what's the payoff? I mean, I love the students I work with, and my students are a great reason to do it. But when I'm having to bring home my regular work to compensate for that, I have to think about why I'm doing it. I also have to think about if I even want to stay in the district, because I wonder if I could get a better job somewhere else and that they would value me. I mean, I'm an obliger. I do everything for other people, and all I need back is a thank you and I guess some recognition. And that's where I think we're lacking at for a lot of our experienced teachers. I'm really happy again that we have this $5 million, because you are getting new hires that are really happy to be here. But I think you're going to continue to have to hire new teachers if you don't address the issue of maintaining your teachers. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tiffany.
My name is Janae Werner, 3307 Ridgeway Drive, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Tiffany summed up basically what I wanted to come to say too. I've been emailing with Abby and Dr. Hardebeck and Chris those last couple of weeks. I was really hoping to hear something more after knowing the new budget was going to be coming out. When we left it in June, I was under the understanding from the letter and for being at that meeting that our situation of being that group of teachers who were not compensated with the new salary, that we were going to be considered again this year. And to find out that we were not even discussed at the budget meeting, I was very disappointed in that. Knowing that our priority in the district was to maintain and to attract new teachers. As over a teacher who has taught over 10 years, to be put at a level A last year for a new teacher, and like Tiffany said, to be mentoring teachers who are coming in new to the district so much ahead of us already, it's hard to work through. And it's the morale in the district for this group of teachers who are not benefiting from the compensation. It's hard to work through. And truthfully, like Tiffany said too, I really want to be in this district. I grew up here, I went to school here, my kids go to school here. I don't want to leave, but in order to maintain my family and my professional teaching, I'm looking other places, which is not something I want to have to do. So, what else was I going to say? Yes, so that's basically what I've been getting through, and I just want to keep it vocal and keep it at your attention so that if it does, or if it is able to be looked at further, that it's still on the board's mind. Thank you.
Thanks, Janae. And that concludes our public hearing as far as people being able to comment to the board. Thank you both for coming. So we adjourn now to our special meeting, and so are there any other clarifications from the board that is needed to happen at this time relative to the budget?
Just that we spent our first meeting momentarily.
Can you? Yeah, you can answer that. Yeah, because I was going to bring that up too.
I just want to correct something. We've had 2 budget meetings, and the first meeting that we had for the fall, that's all we talked about. So you have incorrect information, I'm sorry to say. Thank you.
Aaron, go ahead.
I'm
Commissioner
also-
Hart.
I'm also on the budget committee and chair of the committee, and it's been an ongoing conversation, definitely. I know that hasn't surfaced to all the communication channels in every case, but it continues to be a topic, and in fact, it's on the upcoming agenda for, if not the next meeting, the one after that. So we're not in a position financially to do much about it this year, and we kind of knew that back in June, but that doesn't mean we're done discussing it. So just want to make that clear.
Is it okay to share that? Yes. So thank you. I mean, and I was attending too, so, all right, so thank you. Does anybody want to move the passing of the budget?
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Luganville. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, oh, she beat you, Charles. Second by Commissioner Duax. Can we take a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Duax,
Yes.
Commissioner Hambuck-Boyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Harder,
Yes.
Commissioner Luganville,
Yes.
Commissioner Wu.
Yes.
And that concludes the individually considered resolution and the adoption of our 2017-18 ECASD budget. I now would need someone from the board to adjourn our meeting, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Wu, seconded by Commissioner Duax. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We are adjourned. Abby, you have a budget.
That makes me very happy.
This program was brought to you by a cooperation between Newsworks and the Eau Claire Area School Board. Newsworks is made possible by continuing community support. If you would like to volunteer or make a donation, please contact us via phone at 715-839-5067 or online at valleymediaworks.org.